Getting you ready to head back to school. For this Superintendent Spotlight, I sat down with Chapel Hill-Carrboro County Schools Superintendent Rodney Trice to get his thoughts on the upcoming school year and top priorities. How excited are you for the upcoming school year?
Very excited. It is my first year as superintendent, but I've been a part of the Chapel Hill-Carrboro community for almost 20 years, which brings some level of comfort, but just super excited to see our students and what they will achieve this year.
I love that. What are you looking forward to most?
That's a great question. I just think continuing to build on top of our strategic plan that we've had in place since 3 years ago, I think is going to be important. And just again, continuing to see all of the plans and goals that we have in our strategic plan continue to come to fruition. So that's what excites me.
I love that. Do you have any specific goals that you're kind of looking forward to implementing this school year?
Sure. So we want to make sure that we are offering as many post-secondary options as we can for our students. And so beginning to look at post-secondary options really begins in middle school and early high school. And so just building those out to be sure that our students and families are aware of them, begin to make decisions about what they perhaps might want to do in the future. That's just a really important goal that's embedded in our strategic plan that I look forward to seeing more of.
I know those post-secondary options are really important, especially as students continue on. Can you kind of touch on or elaborate more on the importance of post-secondary education?
Sure. So nationally, we see a decline in the number or percentage of students choosing four-year college options, which is still a great option. But in Chapel Hill-Carrboro, about 30% of our graduates choose something other than a four-year pathway. And so if we can do a better job of making sure that other options are available during the high school years, I think it's just going to be tremendous for our students. So that might involve earning an associate's degree in computer coding, or becoming a medical technician, partnering with local businesses that might offer degrees or certificates. Those are the types of experiences we want to make sure that all students, if they so choose, and families have the opportunity to pursue.
Makes sense. Are there any new programs that you guys have coming this upcoming school year?
No, we don't have any new programs. I wasn't hired to, just flip the district upside down. Like I said, we're very much concerned about implementing our strategic plan and continuing to kind of build on the programming that we have in place. Of course, our budget situation in North Carolina makes that a bit challenging in terms of adopting new programs, but I think we're in a good place to continue the good work that we're doing, and like I said, we look forward to implementing the programs that we have.
And kind of touching on that budget too, I know the Trump administration recently released the $6.8 billion in grant money for public schools. North Carolina is going to be receiving some of that money. What was your reaction to this grant funding being released, and how do you think that's going to help the school district?
Yeah, I think like many educators and families across North Carolina, I was excited. That funding directly impacts those who are most in need, and so districts were gearing up to make tough decisions in terms of how we support the most needy students. And because the funding was released, I think we can continue the program that we know works for our students, particularly multi-language learners and programming for beginning teachers, which was how we were impacted. So excited to see that we can kind of continue that programming in support of our students and beginning teachers.
And I know previously there were some issues with budgeting and staffing. What's kind of the plan moving forward?
We're still working our plan. We had to make some tough decisions the last couple of years with the reduction in force. We've gone through that tough period, and the district is certainly better positioned financially moving forward. There was some worry or concern when the federal budget, lacked clarity. But I think now that we have clarity at the federal level, and if our General Assembly adopts a budget that I think is beneficial to schools, I think we'll be in a good place to continue to build out our fund balance, and feel pretty good about where we're headed.
Sense. I know that the school district was seeing a drop in student enrollment. Where are things looking this year, and what do you think is contributing to that?
Well, we've experienced a decline in enrollment, particularly since the pandemic. Our internal numbers seem to suggest we're leveling out. We're not seeing large decreases in the number of students who are enrolled in Chapel Hill-Carrboro City Schools. In working with Carolina Demography, which is with the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, there's not as many 16 and 17-year-olds kind of in our area. The number of kindergartners being born, we just don't have the numbers. In some districts, it may be, private school choices that, parents are making, charter school choices. That doesn't seem to be the case in Chapel Hill-Carrboro. But, like I said, we're beginning to see that level out a bit, and I'm glad we're able to kind of see that.
Makes sense. As we head into this next school year, what's kind of your message for students and parents as well?
I think the message that, I'd like to communicate is just continue to kind of live their dream, their wants and dreams. I know that might be pie in the sky, but we really do want families and students to be owners of their educational experience. And if that means that, as an educator, as a school district, we have to change and shift to meet the new realities that our kids are facing, let's do that, together. And I'm excited about the opportunity to build that out. That also means being in contact with students and families to listen and hear what they want out of their school district, and making a commitment to kind of build the type of school district that they want. I really do believe it's important as superintendent, someone who's lived in Chapel Hill-Carrboro for almost 20 years, to be approachable, if issues or challenges come up for students and parents. I want to make Chapel Hill-Carrboro, feel small again, is what I say. Pick up the phone and talk to Rodney about the issues that they're experiencing. And just working together to solve challenges. And, that's the kind of community that I know we are. Like I said, I've lived here for almost 20 years, and just making sure that our district really, feels that way to students and families is very important to me in my leadership. The fun segment.
They're easy, I know. Calling it that.
All right, think of your gardening anecdotes.
Oh, Lord.
I have like
Detroit
10.
Lions.
I have like 10 questions. I think the hardest one that might be hardest for you, I don't know. Maybe you have one at the top of your head. Your favorite quote to live by?
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
Okay, all right.
No, a
I
favorite.
was trying to think of my favorite quote. I don't know.
Favorite quote to live by. So, can I tell a little story
Are
behind?
you good? Okay.
So, as a freshman at Morehouse, one of the things we're asked to do is memorize quotes. And one of the quotes that most impacted me from Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays, who was an advisor to Martin Luther King, is that you are not what you now are, but what you aspire to be. So it just kind of forces you to kind of think about your place and position in life, irrespective of what that is, and keep dreaming, keep thinking about your goals, and aspire to that. So I often, share that with students that I'm speaking with as well.
I like that quote. That's nice.
Yes.
All right.
It's short and easy to remember.
Yes, that's true. Exactly. Well, I guess my other question, what made you want to get into education?
My parents, both of my parents were educators. Coming out of high school, I did not think that I would be an educator. Even coming out of college, my major was biology, and was set up to, do grad school in Detroit. But I started teaching because I had to earn an income, and just fell in love with teaching, and just made the decision to kind of take a pivot in my career. And the rest is history. Yeah, literally.
That's amazing. All right, question number 3. What are you most passionate about?
My family. I'm most passionate about my family. I'm a family guy. I'm not the type of person that, has to go on a lot of exotic trips or anything like that. A North Carolina beach somewhere is good enough for me as long as my wife and two girls are around. And, we just have a good time laughing and playing jokes on one another. I mean, that's what I'm passionate about, is just making sure that I'm just fully in each of those experiences. Just to kind of see how my girls have, grown up, over the years. It's just a joy kind of watching them becoming, young women in the world and kind of making their mark. And even my wife and I just, we celebrated 28 years of marriage, July 19th, and just looking at some of the pictures when we were kind of young and where we are now. It's just a joy, and we're just thankful in terms of how blessed we've been able to kind of grow as a family. But that is what truly brings me joy.
I love that. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, my next question. When you're not at work, what are you usually doing? Are there any hobbies that you like, things, sports that you enjoy?
Yeah, so when I'm not at work, I'm typically at home in my garden, my vegetable garden, messing with my tomatoes. I know they're probably tired of me. But yeah, that's kind of where I get my, daily peace, especially during the summer. I can go out there for a couple of hours and tend to the weeds, but also just be in sync with nature, kind of listening to the sounds. And but yeah, that's what I love. Sports-wise, I'm a Detroit Lions fan. It's been a tough go of it for, the 50 years I've been on this earth, but at least the last couple of years we've been doing a great job winning. So I told my daughters if I can live long enough to kind of see them win a playoff game or a division championship, not even a Super Bowl, that will be enough for me.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
What is your biggest motivation?
Getting up every day and making sure our community is working for children, and not just in the education space, but in partnering with local community organizations. My wife is a pediatrician, focuses on the health of children. My motivation is just making sure our community, works for our students, and that they can, as I said before, really see their dreams and see themselves kind of in the things that they're dreaming about.
Amazing. Now, are you a coffee person?
Yes. I'm not a coffee snob, but I am, I'm a Starbucks person. I'll order a pike every now and then.
That's with cream, or you just like it black?
Well, I use heavy cream.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah, a little sugar,
Yes.
heavy cream, and and a pike, and that's
your go-to order.
my morning will be okay, irrespective of what's happening.
Well, what's your favorite trip you've ever taken?
Favorite trip? Well, my wife and I, we have a nonprofit called Global Free Schools, and so we do a lot of mission work and parts of Africa and Haiti. And so I think our favorite, or my favorite, is, visiting Haiti. Again, working with educators down there and just learning so much from them. And I'm sure they're taking from us as well. But again, just seeing, students and families there, they want the same thing that our students and families want here, and that's a bright future. And although sometimes there's a language barrier, we all understand, what it means to want for our children, want for our community, which is a universal language. And so it's work there, but at the end of the day, I would rather spend my time there than, on some vacation where you don't get as much.
Yeah, that's amazing. What made you all start that nonprofit?
Well, we had gone on a number of mission trips with our church, and which were, great and okay, but being an educator and my wife being a physician, when you go somewhere, I tend to look at schools or talk to teachers or administrators, and again, there was just this, we're working on the same work, and there was a way that the educators in Haiti invested in me, and there was a way that I could invest in them. So it really is this kind of back and forth, symbiotic kind of a relationship that we've created, and we continue to enjoy even to this day.
I love that. That's amazing. All right, my last question. If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Bacon. That's the universal food. Although I don't eat too much of it, when I do eat the bacon, I'm just, it just does your life good.
Favorite food. I
Yes,
like
it's
it.
my favorite food. I can eat it on pizza. I can eat it with breakfast.
Yes,
But, yeah.
that's true.
Bacon, 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 bacon.
Well, perfect. That was awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
And you can find extended back-to-school coverage over on CBS17.com. Brea Hollingsworth, CBS 17 News.